Things are coming together. Get ready to receive. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here at a moment that is far more significant than it appears on the surface. This is not just another talk, not just another passing message of motivation or encouragement. This is a moment of alignment, a moment where something inside you already knows that what you have been waiting for is not far away. There is a quiet stirring in your spirit, a subtle awareness that something is shifting, even if you cannot yet see the full picture. You may not be able to explain it, but you feel it, a sense that things are finally beginning to fall into place. For a long time, many of you have been walking through seasons of uncertainty, waiting in silent endurance. You have done the inner work when no one was watching. You have held on to hope when logic told you to give up. You have chosen faith over fear again and again, even when circumstances seemed unmoved. And yet, despite all that effort, there were moments when it felt as if nothing was happening. But what if the stillness you experienced was not stagnation? What if it was preparation? What if every delay, every closed door, every confusing detour was part of a greater arrangement that is now beginning to reveal itself? Right now, something extraordinary is unfolding behind the scenes of your life. Conversations are being aligned. Opportunities are being formed. People, resources, and timing are all being drawn together in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. You may feel a strange mixture of anticipation and calm, as if you are standing at the edge of a breakthrough, without knowing exactly how it will arrive. That feeling is not accidental. It is the inner confirmation that the pieces are being placed in your favor. So many of you have been tested not by what you lacked, but by how long you had to wait for what you knew was yours. You were asked to keep believing when there was no visible evidence. You were asked to keep walking forward even when the path seemed unclear. And in that waiting, something powerful happened. You grew. You became stronger, more grounded, more certain of who you are and what you deserve. The version of you sitting here today is not the same one who first began this journey. You are now capable of receiving what once felt too big, too distant, or too impossible. This is why this moment matters. This is why you are here, listening to these words. You are not here by chance. You are here because you are standing at the doorway of a new chapter, one where effort gives way to flow and struggle gives way to support. The question is no longer whether things will work out for you. The real question is whether you are ready to accept that they already are. As we move forward today, I invite you to listen not just with your ears, but with your inner awareness. Let these words remind you of what you already know deep down, that you are guided, that you are supported, and that what you have been preparing for is now preparing to meet you. Things are coming together, even if you cannot yet see every detail. And very soon, you will look back at this moment and realize that this was the point where everything quietly began to change. The invisible alignment has already begun. There is a level of reality that operates far beyond what your eyes can see. Long before something appears in physical form, it is already moving in this unseen dimension. People think life changes when circumstances change, but in truth, circumstances change because something deeper has already shifted. Every breakthrough, every opportunity, every sudden turn of events begins as a quiet rearrangement beneath the surface. Right now, even if nothing looks different yet, the invisible alignment in your life has already begun. When things feel slow, it is not because nothing is happening. It is because everything is happening where you cannot yet observe it. Think of a seed beneath the soil. For a long time, nothing seems to change. There is no sign of life above ground. But inside that darkness, roots are forming, structures are being built, and energy is being gathered. The moment the sprout breaks through the surface is not the beginning of the process. It is the evidence that the process has already been completed. Your life works the same way. What you are about to experience has been in development long before you saw the first sign. This is why you must never judge your progress by what is visible. The physical world always lags behind the inner and unseen movement. You may feel ready. You may feel like you have been waiting too long. But the timing is not determined by your impatience. It is determined by alignment. Everything that needs to meet you must first be positioned correctly. The right people must be ready. The right opportunities must exist. The right circumstances must converge. And all of this is happening right now, even if it looks like nothing is moving. The reason many people quit right before their breakthrough is because the silence makes them doubt. They assume that because they do not see evidence, there must be no progress. But the truth is that the greatest progress always happens in silence. When the world goes quiet, that is when the deepest changes take place. Energy is being rearranged, patterns are being broken, new pathways are being created. What feels like a pause is actually the most active phase of transformation. Every time you choose to remain calm, hopeful, and steady despite what you see, you are signaling that you trust the unseen. And trust accelerates alignment. When you stop reacting to appearances and begin resting in expectation, reality starts moving faster in your favor. The universe does not respond to panic, it responds to certainty. The moment you decide that what you desire is already on its way, the invisible forces work even harder to make it so. You must understand these things do not come together randomly. There is a precise intelligence at work in your life. Every meeting, every delay, every shift is part of a larger pattern. Even the disappointments you experienced were not mistakes, they were corrections. They were moving you away from what was not meant for you and closer to what is. What you thought was rejection was actually redirection. What you thought was loss was actually preparation. Right now, doors you did not even know existed are opening. Conversations are happening about you in rooms you are not in. Decisions are being made that will affect your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. People who will help you are being nudged toward you. Opportunities that match your new level are being created. None of this requires your effort. It requires only your willingness to stay aligned with the version of you who expects good things to happen. The unseen world responds to identity, not action. When you see yourself as chosen, supported, and favored, the invisible alignment adjusts to match that self-image. This is why your inner state matters more than anything else. You could be sitting still on the outside and moving mountains on the inside. The moment you shift how you see yourself, everything around you must eventually follow. You do not need to force outcomes. You do not need to chase people. You do not need to manipulate situations. What is meant for you is being assembled in a way that does not require struggle. Struggle only happens when you try to interfere with alignment. When you try to make things happen before they are ready, you create resistance. But when you allow the unseen to do its work, things fall into place with ease. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is the decision to remain steady while the invisible architecture of your next chapter is being built. Every day you hold your vision without wavering. You strengthen the structure that will soon support it. Every day you choose faith over frustration. You speed up the arrival of what you desire. There is a moment just before something big manifests when everything feels strangely quiet. You may feel disconnected. You may feel unsure. You may feel like you are in between worlds, no longer where you were, but not yet where you are going. That space is sacred. That space is where alignment completes itself. That space is where old patterns fall away and new realities take root. Many of you are in that space right now. You can sense that something is different, but you cannot explain it. You feel less attached to the past. You feel more focused on the future. You feel a deeper calm even if you still have questions. That calm is not weakness. It is readiness. It is the sign that your nervous system, your beliefs, and your identity are finally matching what you have been asking for. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Every experience has contributed to the alignment that is now unfolding. The struggles taught you what you will no longer accept. The waiting taught you patience. The setbacks taught you resilience. All of it was shaping you into someone who could hold what is coming without breaking under its weight. The invisible alignment is not something you have to activate. It is something you have already activated through your persistence, your faith, and your inner shifts. You may not have realized it at the time, but every moment you chose to keep believing instead of giving up, you were moving pieces behind the scenes. Every time you refused to let disappointment define you, you were adjusting the direction of your life. Now the results are on their way, not because you tried harder, but because you stayed aligned longer. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are in the exact phase that precedes manifestation. The world may still look the same today, but that does not mean it will look the same tomorrow. Things can change faster than you think when the invisible alignment is complete. Stay in expectation. Stay in calm. Stay in the knowing that what you have been preparing for is now preparing to meet you. The unseen has already moved. The visible will follow. Your assumption is writing the script. Every experience you have ever had was first written in your inner world. Long before it showed up in your bank account, your relationships, your opportunities, or your daily circumstances, it existed as an assumption about who you are and how life treats you. You are not living in a random universe. You are living inside a reflection of your deepest expectations. Life is not reacting to your wishes. It is responding to your self-image. Most people believe they must see change before they can believe. But in truth, you must believe before anything can change. The world does not lead your mind leads the world. Whatever you quietly accept as true about yourself becomes the rule that reality must obey. If you assume things are difficult, they will be. If you assume you are overlooked, you will be. But when you assume that things work in your favor, that assumption becomes the script that your life follows. Right now, things are coming together because your inner story has shifted. Maybe you didn't even notice when it happened. It could have been subtle, a moment when you stopped doubting, a moment when you decided you were done settling, a moment when you felt even briefly that you deserved more. That moment was powerful. In that instant, you rewrote the script, and the world has been adjusting ever since. Your assumption is not what you say out loud. It is what you quietly expect when no one is watching. It is the tone of your inner dialogue. It is the emotional conclusion you come to about yourself. Do you feel chosen or forgotten, supported or alone, favored or unlucky? Those feelings are not harmless, they are instructions. Reality follows instructions with absolute precision. You do not get what you want. You get what you assume is normal for you. This is why two people can live in the same city, have the same opportunities, and yet experience completely different lives. One expects doors to open. The other expects disappointment. And both are right. The universe does not argue with your assumptions, it simply proves them. You may not realize how powerful this is, but you are always telling life who you are. Through your reactions, through your emotional patterns, through what you tolerate, through what you believe is possible. And life listens. When you wake up expecting good things, you move differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. And those small differences compound into entirely different outcomes. Your assumption becomes the invisible hand guiding every interaction, every decision, every opportunity that comes your way. This is why things are shifting for you now. You are no longer operating from desperation. You are no longer begging life to give you something. You have moved into a quieter, stronger energy, the energy of someone who expects to be supported. That expectation is magnetic. It pulls people, circumstances, and chances toward you without effort. Your assumption is the filter through which you interpret everything. If you assume you are always late, you will see delays everywhere. If you assume you are aligned, you will notice how things fall into place. The same events can happen to two people, but their assumptions decide what those events mean and what they lead to. You must understand that the outer world is extremely obedient. It takes its cues from you. If you walk through life feeling small, the world will shrink around you. If you walk through life feeling chosen, the world will rise to meet you. Nothing is more important than the story you tell yourself about who you are. The most powerful people are not those who work the hardest. They are the ones who assume the best. They expect success. They expect respect. They expect to be treated well. And because they expect it, they behave in ways that make those expectations unavoidable. This is why confidence changes everything. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty. The certainty that you are meant to be here, that you matter, that your desires are valid, that life is not against you. When you hold that assumption, reality bends. Right now, your life is responding to a new identity you have stepped into. You no longer see yourself as someone who waits for permission. You see yourself as someone who belongs. And that subtle shift is enormous. It changes what you notice, what you accept, and what you allow into your life. You are not chasing your future, you are assuming it. An assumption is far more powerful than effort. When you assume something is yours, you stop trying to convince the world. You simply move as if it is already true. That movement sends a signal that everything else must follow. Opportunities align, people show up, timing works out. Not because you forced it, but because you expected it. This is why doubt slows everything down. Doubt is a conflicting instruction. It tells reality, I'm not sure this is for me, and reality responds by hesitating. But certainty, even quiet certainty, is clear. It says, this belongs to me. and life moves with confidence to deliver it. You do not have to know how it will happen. You only have to know who you are. The moment you decide that you are someone who is supported, life begins supporting you. The moment you decide that you are someone who is lucky, life begins proving it. The moment you decide that you are someone who is chosen, life begins selecting you. This is not superstition. This is the way consciousness works. Your outer world is always catching up to your inner assumption. Sometimes it takes time because there are many moving parts, but it never fails. What you persistently assume must eventually become visible. This is why persistence matters more than intensity. You do not need to feel powerful for one day. You need to feel certain over time. The quiet, steady belief that things work out for you is stronger than any burst of motivation. You have been building that belief. Every time you refused to give up, every time you chose hope over bitterness, every time you imagined a better future instead of replaying the past. Those moments were not small. They were shaping the script. Now the script is being performed. Your job is not to worry about the timing. Your job is to stay loyal to your new self-image. Stay loyal to the version of you who expects good things. Stay loyal to the identity that knows you are supported. The world is listening, and it is responding. The delay was training you to receive. There is a kind of preparation that cannot be rushed, and that is the preparation of the inner self. What you have been calling delay was never empty time. It was the most important part of the process. Because before anything meaningful can enter your life, you must become the person who can hold it without fear, without sabotage, and without shrinking. The waiting was not a punishment. It was training. Most people think they are ready when they feel tired of waiting. But readiness is not about how badly you want something. Readiness is about whether your nervous system, your self-image, and your expectations can handle having it. If something big had arrived too early, it would have overwhelmed you. You would have questioned it. You might have pushed it away. So life waited until you grew into the version of yourself that would no longer doubt what was meant for you. The delay taught you how to be steady. It taught you how to hold faith when nothing was moving. It taught you how to trust without proof. That kind of trust cannot be learned quickly. It has to be built through experience. Each time you stayed hopeful instead of bitter, you were strengthening the inner muscles required to receive what is coming. You were not just waiting for your life to change. Your life was waiting for you to change. There were moments when you felt forgotten, overlooked, or even rejected. But those moments were shaping your self-respect. They were forcing you to define your worth without external validation. You had to learn how to stand in your value even when no one else was clapping. That lesson is priceless. Without it, any success you receive would feel unstable. You would always be afraid of losing it. Now, because of the delay, you know who you are. You are no longer desperate. You are no longer begging for approval. You are no longer afraid to walk away from what does not honor you. That strength is what makes you ready. When something finally arrives, it must arrive to a person who can accept it calmly. Not someone who is shocked by good fortune. Not someone who feels unworthy. But someone who simply says, yes, this fits who I am now. The delay created that person. The waiting also taught you how to listen to yourself. When things are moving fast, you don't notice your inner world. But when life slows down, you are forced to confront your beliefs. You discovered what you truly thought about yourself. You discovered where you still felt small. You discovered what you needed to heal. And healing is not optional when you are about to receive something big. If you still carry old wounds, you will interpret new blessings through old pain. The delay gave you time to release what would have distorted what is coming. You were not being kept from your desire. You were being prepared for it. There is a reason that what you are about to receive feels different. It is not just bigger. It is more stable. It is more aligned. It will last longer. Because it is not entering a chaotic inner world. It is entering a grounded one. You had to learn how to be at peace without what you wanted. That way, when it arrives, you will not cling to it out of fear. You will enjoy it from a place of wholeness. This is what makes the next chapter of your life so powerful. You are not stepping into it from need. You are stepping into it from knowing. The delay also filtered out what was not meant for you. If things had happened earlier, they might have happened with the wrong people, the wrong timing, or the wrong conditions. You would have settled. You would have compromised. But now you have standards. Now you have clarity. Now you can recognize what is truly aligned with you. You no longer chase what feels off. You no longer force what doesn't flow. That discernment was built during the waiting. Everything that fell apart was teaching you what will not be allowed in your next season. Everything that disappointed you was sharpening your sense of what you deserve. You were learning the difference between attention and connection, between opportunity and alignment, between temporary relief and lasting fulfillment. These are not small lessons. These are the foundations of a life that will not collapse under success. The delay also made you resilient. You learned how to keep going when things were uncertain. You learned how to encourage yourself. You learned how to create inner stability when the outer world was unpredictable. That resilience is what will allow you to enjoy what is coming without fear of losing it. You are no longer fragile. This is why things are moving now. The training is complete. You may not have realized it while you were in it, but you were being upgraded. Your patience grew. Your self-worth grew. Your ability to hold joy grew. You became less reactive. You became more grounded. These are all signs of readiness. People think readiness looks like excitement, but true readiness looks like calm. When you are ready, you are not frantic. You are not chasing. You are not anxious. You are simply available. And you are available now. This is why what is coming will not feel overwhelming. It will feel natural. It will feel like a continuation of who you have already become. The delay also aligned you with better timing. There are seasons when certain opportunities cannot thrive. There are seasons when certain people are not ready to meet you. You had to wait for the world to catch up to who you are becoming. You are no longer outgrowing your environment. Your environment is now being reshaped to match you. What you went through was not wasted. Every tear, every doubt, every moment of wondering if it would ever happen was part of your preparation. You were shedding old versions of yourself. You were releasing old expectations. You were making room for something far greater. Now there is space in you. Space for abundance, space for ease, space for recognition. You can only receive what you have room for. The delay created that room. You are not late. You are right on time for the version of you that exists now. And that version of you is capable of receiving what the old you could not have handled. The waiting did not weaken you. It built you. Reality is catching up to your new identity. There comes a moment in every transformation when you realize that the world around you is no longer responding to who you used to be. It is beginning to respond to who you have decided to become. This is where many people feel confused, because the old circumstances have not fully disappeared yet, but the new ones are already on their way. You are standing in the space between identities, where the past no longer fits and the future is quietly forming. That is where reality starts catching up. Your outer world is always slightly behind your inner decision. The moment you choose a new self-image, the universe begins rearranging to reflect it. But because the physical world moves more slowly than thought and feeling, there is a brief period where it looks like nothing has changed. In truth, everything has changed. The delay is not resistance. It is the time it takes for the new pattern to become visible. You did not just want better things, you became someone who expects them. That is the most powerful shift a person can make. When you see yourself differently, you treat yourself differently. When you treat yourself differently, others do too. When others treat you differently, opportunities appear. It is a chain reaction that starts with identity. The old version of you may have accepted less. The old version of you may have tried to prove their worth. The old version of you may have waited for permission. But the new version of you moves with quiet authority. You no longer need to convince anyone. You no longer need to chase. You simply show up as someone who belongs, and the world is responding. This is why people may suddenly treat you with more respect. This is why chances may come more easily. This is why doors that were once closed begin to open. It is not luck. It is alignment. You are now in resonance with a different level of life. Reality is not random. It mirrors identity. When you walk into a room believing you are invisible, you will be treated that way. When you walk into a room knowing you are meant to be there, the room adjusts. That adjustment may be subtle, but it is real. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You make different choices. And the world follows those signals. Your new identity has been forming quietly for a long time. You stopped accepting what drained you. You started honoring your boundaries. You began expecting more. These were not small changes. They were declarations to the universe about who you are now. And the universe took note. This is why things feel unstable right now. Old structures are falling away because they no longer match who you are. Old relationships may feel distant. Old habits may feel uncomfortable. You are not losing anything. You are outgrowing it. What no longer fits must go, so what does fit can arrive. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of transition. You are being moved into a reality that matches your new identity. But first, the old one has to loosen its grip. Reality does not change all at once. It shifts in layers. First, your thoughts change, then your emotions, then your behavior, then your environment. You have already completed the first three. The fourth is now in motion. You are seeing signs, small confirmations, unexpected moments that tell you something is different. Maybe people are more supportive. Maybe opportunities appear. Maybe you feel more confident. These are not coincidences. They are reflections. Your new identity is being recognized. You are no longer operating from fear. You are operating from trust. And trust is magnetic. It draws in situations that match it. The world is always testing to see who you think you are. If you see yourself as capable, life will give you challenges that prove it. If you see yourself as worthy, life will offer you experiences that confirm it. If you see yourself as chosen, life will place you in positions where you are selected. That is what is happening now. You may feel like you are stepping into something unfamiliar. That is because you are. You are stepping into a version of life you have never lived before. But it feels strangely right because it matches who you have become inside. You are no longer trying to survive. You are ready to thrive. And thriving requires a different reality. This is why things that used to excite you no longer do. You are no longer satisfied with smallness. You are not being ungrateful. You are being honest about your growth. Your identity has expanded. When identity expands, reality must follow. This is also why you may feel a sense of inevitability about your future. You know something good is coming, even if you cannot describe it. That knowing is not imagination, it is recognition. You recognize the trajectory you are on. Once identity shifts, the destination is locked in. The details may change. The timing may surprise you, but the outcome is set. This is why you no longer worry the way you used to. You still have questions, but you are not panicked, you are grounded. That is a sign that you have stepped into a new self-concept. And that new self-concept is powerful. It does not need to fight. It does not need to prove. It simply is. The world cannot ignore who you are becoming. Reality is catching up, even if it looks slow. It is catching up in conversations you do not hear, in decisions you did not make, in opportunities you did not plan. The old you could not have accessed what is coming. But the new you can, and the universe knows it. Everything that is happening now is responding to the person you have decided to be. And that response is only just beginning. Receiving is your only assignment now. There comes a moment in every journey where effort becomes unnecessary and allowing becomes everything. You have already done the inner work. You have already shifted your beliefs. You have already stepped into a new identity. Now the only thing left for you to do is receive. That may sound simple, but for many people it is the hardest part. They are so used to striving, pushing, and struggling that they do not know how to relax into expectation. But what is coming to you now does not require force. It requires openness. Receiving is not passive. It is a powerful state of trust. It is the inner posture that says, I am ready. I am available. I do not resist what is meant for me. When you are in this state, life flows toward you instead of away from you. The more you relax into certainty, the faster things move. Most people block their own blessings by trying to control how and when they arrive. They analyze every delay. They question every silence. They look for signs that something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. The moment you stop interfering, alignment speeds up. What is meant for you moves on a path that requires no struggle. You do not have to chase what is already finding you. Receiving means letting go of the habit of proving yourself. You no longer need to convince the world that you deserve what you want. You already do. When you know that, you no longer push. You simply allow. This is why calm is so powerful. Calm tells the universe that you trust it. And trust is the greatest magnet there is. Right now, everything you have been asking for is moving toward you through channels you cannot see. It does not need your help. It needs your permission. Permission is given when you stop worrying and start expecting. Expectation creates space. Worry closes it. You have to understand that when you stress, you are not being productive. You are being resistant. You are telling life that you are not sure it will come. That uncertainty slows everything down. But when you relax into knowing, things speed up. This is not about doing nothing. It is about doing less from fear and more from alignment. When something is meant for you, you will be guided to the right action at the right time. You will not have to guess. You will not have to force. The people who receive the most are not the ones who try the hardest. They are the ones who trust the deepest. You are in a phase now where life is responding to your inner state more than your outer effort. If you feel safe, supported, and certain, reality will mirror that. If you feel tense and doubtful, it will reflect that too. This is why your emotional state matters. Receiving also means being willing to have good things. That sounds obvious, but many people secretly feel uncomfortable with ease. They are used to struggle. They identify with hardship. When something starts going well, they look for the problem. You must allow yourself to enjoy what is coming without guilt. You do not have to earn it again. You already did through your growth. Receiving means saying yes when something aligns. It means not pushing it away because it feels unfamiliar. It means trusting that you are ready. You have changed. That is why what is coming feels bigger. Your old self might have felt intimidated by success, love, or abundance. But you are not that person anymore. You are grounded now. You are steady. You are capable of holding more without losing yourself. This is why the universe is bringing you more. You are not here to struggle endlessly. You are here to experience flow. Flow happens when you stop trying to swim against the current. The current is already moving in your favor. The more you let go of control, the more you will notice things happening easily. Conversations will go your way. Opportunities will appear. Solutions will present themselves. Not because you fought for them, but because you allowed them. You are stepping into a season where things come to you. This is also why you may feel tired of pushing. That tiredness is not weakness. It is your intuition telling you that effort is no longer required. You are being invited to trust. Trust that what you want is not fragile. It does not need constant monitoring. It does not disappear because you relax. What is truly meant for you moves toward you on its own. Receiving also means letting go of the idea that you must suffer for something to be valuable. Ease does not make a blessing less real. It makes it more aligned. You do not need chaos to grow anymore. You have already grown. Now you get to enjoy the results. There is nothing selfish about receiving. When you allow yourself to be supported, you become a calmer, more generous, more grounded person. You have more to give when you are not depleted. The world benefits when you are in flow. You are allowed to have a life that feels good. You are allowed to have things work out. You are allowed to feel safe. Receiving is simply agreeing with those truths. This is why the only thing you need to focus on now is staying open. Open to love, open to opportunity, open to abundance, open to change. When you are open, you do not miss what is meant for you. You have reached the part of the journey where the seeds you planted begin to grow. You do not dig them up to check. You trust the process. What is coming is not delayed. It is ripening. And you are ready to receive it.